So Paul is an independent notary that does work with AtNotarize as well. He's a very experienced notary. He's done signings, and in general, he is someone I have a lot of respect for. And I thought it would be great to hear a notary's perspective on a day in the life of, really. And honestly, Paul and I haven't reviewed this presentation because the idea is for Paul to bring his authentic self and not do a promotion for AtNotarize. The idea is, for him to just talk about how he gets his clients, what are some of his challenges, and all of that good stuff. So, without much ado, I'm going to hand it over to Paul, and it'll be in Paul's capable hands, and Paul will basically decide how he wants us to engage or not engage. So, Paul, over to you.
Thank you, Rushi, for that introduction. It's definitely an honor just to be able to speak before you guys today as a fellow notary. So hopefully some of the things I'm going to share with you today, you'll better use it tomorrow, maybe even this evening. I'm hoping to provide some insight on some of the things that I'm doing that's working for me. I'll also share some things that have been some challenges for me. But to start the presentation, I'm going to cover three things. Number one, I'm going to talk about, how I got into the business, because I'm pretty sure, like most of you, I don't think anybody woke up when they were young saying, I want to be a notary, right? So I'm going to talk about how I got to this point. And then also I'm going to talk about my career as a loan signing agent, because that is what pays my bills right now. And then I also do a lot of general notary work on the side as well. So I'll talk about all three of those areas. And then I'm gonna try to leave the lines open so that you guys can ask any questions. Feel free to chime in. I'm an open book. I'm gonna tell you some of my secrets, some of the things I wouldn't tell any other notary. I'm gonna share with you guys tonight. So without further ado, let me just kind of share with you how I got to this point. I used to work for an insurance company, a Fortune 500 company, and I was with them a little over 9 years and got laid off back in February. So I don't know about everybody else's situation on this call, but I was kind of forced into figuring it out and figuring it out right away. And so my career began as an insurance agent. That's all I've known to do. That's all I love. I've always been in customer service. So that those things are just easy. That's just natural things that I do well. And a lot of that applies to the notary business, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But how did I get started? So I had a cousin, believe it or not, that told me about being a notary. And if you're anything like me, the first thing I'm thinking is be a notary, make a career out of being a notary. That just didn't make a lot of sense to me, because my mindset was most notaries, I was under the impression, they stamp a sheet of paper, sit behind a desk, and they may make maybe $5 or $6 per transaction. And that didn't sound like anything that I could make a career out of. So that was just my ignorance, not knowing the industry, right? And but she shared with me a couple of friends of hers that were doing loan signings, and that's how I started in the business. And even when she shared it with me, I was like, this seems too good to be true. These people are making $150 to go out and sign loan documents. It's like, yeah, right. I believe it when I see it. But long story short, I started doing it on the side. I've always been an entrepreneur. I have always had an entrepreneur spirit. And I never wanted to have all my eggs in one basket and working for any corporation, because I've been laid off before, and this is my second time being laid off. So the first time I learned my lesson, I was like, I'll never not have something on the side that I could potentially turn into a business that could support my family, because I do have 3 kids and a wife, and they depend on me to get out here and make it happen. So everything I'm going to share with you today is coming straight from the heart, exactly what I'm doing. And if you have any questions, I'm an open book. Don't feel like you got to pull any punches. Just ask me, and I'll give you my honest answers on anything that you have questions about. So to fast forward a little bit, um, once I started doing the loan signings and decided I wanted to get into the business, I knew one thing I had to do, which was get some training. I see a lot of notaries get into the business and they try to skip the training side of things, and you can't do that. There's so much free training out there online. There's free training on the SOS if you're in Texas, because I don't know where everybody's from, but anybody that's in the state of Texas, the Secretary of State provides a free training on their website. Texas Notary, which is how I became a notary. You just pay a fee and you become a notary. It's that simple. And on their website, they actually have some trainings. And then the NNA has the Notary Essentials training. So that's the National Notary Association.org. On their website, they have training. So I've always been a guy that whatever I do, I want to be the best at it, not just get in it just to do it. So I immediately started equipping myself with training. But then I came across a company called the Loan Signing System. No plugs. I'm not selling anything for them, but that's what I used. And if you want to know how I got to this point, you need to know what I used to get to this point. So I'm just sharing with you exactly the steps that I took. So the course is through Mark Wills, and it was probably the most profound course I've ever taken. It's all online at your own pace, and I took it serious. You know, a lot of times people are in a hurry to make money, but they're not in a hurry to educate themselves, and you can't do both. You've got to educate yourself first so that you can actually be a rock star in the end in doing what you do. And I went through the course, and my business just kind of took off out of nowhere, which I am on a lot of notary forums on Facebook, a lot of different groups, and I see people all the time saying, "Hey, how are you guys getting all these signings?" And what I realized is that course, and there's many other courses out there. I've heard of Notary to Pro. There's different courses out there, and they all do a good job of educating you. But the key I want to mention here is the first thing that I did is I tried to educate myself as quickly as possible. Um, and so, what does Paul Todd do now? Well, just to kind of switch gears, the majority of my day is doing loan signings, and then I would say probably about 20% of my day is general notary work. So let's talk about that really quickly.
Well,
And if you have any, go ahead.
can you make yourself presenter so you are taking up the screen? For some reason, I can't. Since you're the organizer, can you make yourself larger? Maybe make yourself a presenter,
Okay, let's do that.
most of the screen. That way, we can have you in the spotlight versus.
Okay. Mm, well, it shows me as the presenter. Is
Okay.
anybody else having any issues seeing me okay?
No, we can see
'Cause
you,
I can,
and I just want you to be on the full screen.
the
Just
full screen.
yeah, I'm just trying to have you pinned to the.
Okay. Let's see if I can make any changes here.
If you can, that's fine. Just continue with what you have.
Okay. All right. So, so before we get into the first side of my business, which is the loan signing side of my business, any questions just on my background, how I got to this point, why I'm even a notary at this point? Any questions on that?
Yes, Paul, this is Deborah, and I just wanted to know is there a website for the loan signing system?
Yes, actually, it's real simple. It's just the loansigningsystem.com. The guy that runs that course is Mark Wills.
Mark, WILLS?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions
Paul,
before? Sure, go ahead.
um, are you still doing insurance too?
Yes, so funny story. And I'll kind of touch a few pieces of information, but yes, fully licensed insurance agent, non-resident license in about 7 different states. I never let that go because that is, income that I can capture at any time. And the funny thing about this notary business, believe it or not, is the same people that need notary services are the exact same people that may need insurance or investments or annuities, whatever the case may be. So I have been able to use this platform as a way to cross sell, believe it or not, without even asking for the business, just, having a normal conversation like I'm having with you guys. And they always ask me, so is this all you do? Because again, most people don't think notaries can make good money doing this. So they're always asking me, how are you driving the Tahoe around being a notary? Where's the, what other money are you making? So I end up telling them about the insurance business as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So yes, any other questions before we switch gears? I think we're good. So loan signings, again, that accounts for about 75 to 80% of my revenue. And if if you're even wondering how much money do I earn as a notary, believe it or not, um, and don't let anybody tell you it can't be done, because I didn't think it could be done, but I pushed the levers and it worked. And I make pretty much over $8,000 every month doing this. And that's, if I make anything less than that, that's a bad month. Okay. So I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, it can be done. And you can make a lot of money doing this. You can help a lot of people doing that. So just a quick plug about that, just in case you're wondering. So with the loan signing business, there is a lot of signing services out there that you need to sign up with. And that is the key. What I found is most notaries don't know who the signing services are. And that's what I learned in some of the courses that I've taken over the last couple of years, is not having to figure it out. They gave me all the answers. Now I've had to pay money for it. So, you pay money to make money. But just understand, the loan signing business is where I get the majority of my business. And let me just kind of walk you through what that looks like from a day-to-day perspective. On the loan signing side, I'm getting a loan document from some signing service, and it's usually anywhere from, on a seller package, it may be 60, 40 pages. If it's a refinance, it may be 100, 150 pages, sometimes even 200. And what I typically do, will prep all the documents the night before, so I can make the signing process a lot simpler. And what I mean by prepping is, as a notary, I'll go through, make sure everything's dated. If there's anything I have to sign, I'll go ahead and sign it. The only thing I do not do is I don't stamp any of the documents. I think that's pretty much against notary laws anyway. But I try to go ahead and pre-fill as much of the paperwork out as possible. And the reason why I'm doing that is, number one, I want to focus on the customer at all times. But then also, number two, it allows me to just have normal conversation. If you're sitting there trying to do your signatures, your dates, your stamps, and all that good stuff, you really don't have an opportunity to interact with the client. And because I'm able to do that, that's what kind of triggers a lot of my general notary work, because these same clients that I'm doing loan signings for, they call me right back out to do maybe a will or a trust or a power of attorney that they've been needing to get notarized. They'll call me right back out. So I get a lot of general notary work, which again can tie into some of the RON notary work, is that remote online notarizations, just by making sure you're not going out seeing customers and not marketing yourself, right? Um, a lot of signing services don't want you doing certain things. They don't want you leaving behind any marketing material about other services that you offer if you do anything outside of being a notary. But there's no rules on just leaving your business card, right? Doing the simple things, letting people know exactly what you do if they ask. And most people will ask you if you just have a normal conversation with them. And so with that, with the loan signings, that is again probably my bread and butter. I can get through a signing in about 45 minutes to an hour. And if it's the right customer, there are some that do refinances, they do investment properties, and they do it on a regular basis. And I can get in and out of there in 20 minutes because they really don't want to read the documents. They've seen them so many times, they just want me to show them where to sign and date. And I've become an expert at that. And I love doing it. I love helping people. And it flows. It really flows. And it's a great source of revenue. So if anybody on this call is not doing that and you're a notary, it may be a good time to consider it as a supplement. Whatever you're doing is probably great, but if you want to supplement your income and really take it to the next level, there is a lot of money in doing loan signings. And I'm sure if you go on certain Facebook groups, if you haven't joined any, this will be a great time to start doing that. A lot of networking takes place on Facebook. I know a lot of people, some don't like Facebook for various reasons, right? I use it for business purposes, and I use it for a way to network. I use it to pick up ideas. Different people have different strategies that work for them, and they post these things in these different notary groups. Matter of fact, let me just kind of show you what I'm talking about. That way I'm not just telling you something that you may be unfamiliar with. So I'm just going to share this screen here. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So there are several notary groups all over Facebook, right? And I'm a part of this Texas Online Notaries, Notary and Signing Networks. all of there's several of them. I'm a part of a lot of stuff, so don't judge me, guys. But one of the things that I do, besides just scrolling through and looking at some of the comments and questions that people have on a daily basis, because a lot of people go here to get answers, right? They'll post something hoping that somebody in the group will have the answers for them, even if it's, some general notary work. What do I do in a situation like this? And people will put their comments up to help them. But there's another place that I encourage you guys to also look if you haven't started doing this already. Most of these groups have a files folder. And in this files folder, you'll find things like jurats for your state. You may find signing companies for your state. You may find signing services for other states. But the bottom line is these are all ways for you to uncover additional opportunities where you can market your business to bring in a little bit more revenue. So I use these groups for information, believe it or not. I also use another resource quite often because with me doing a lot of general notary work, which we'll talk about in just a second, I have seen some of the most obscene things. I mean, I've seen people write letters on a sheet of paper that they tore out of their notebook and they want me to notarize it. And there's certain things that have to be in place in order for us as notaries to do that. So because I'm a member of the National Notary Association, which anybody on this call that's a loan signing agent, we've all had to go through this website just to become a notary signing agent or a loan signing agent, right? And their membership allows you to call their team of experienced notaries that know laws for all of the states. So if you ever have a question or if you're ever in a situation where you're concerned about, can I notarize this document or is this actually legal? You can just pick up the phone and call them and they will answer your questions right there on the spot. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, they know the laws for all the states. So I do utilize the National Notary quite a bit because the more and more you do this, you'll come across more and more new scenarios that you've never come across. And it's like, what do I do here? And they can answer those questions for you and keep you in the clear so that there's no E&O claims or lawsuits filed against you for doing something you didn't have any business doing. Also protecting your notary certificate so that the Secretary of State doesn't take it from you because you did something that you weren't supposed to do. So these are free resources that you can utilize. Now, the National Notary, you do have to pay for that. But most of you, if you are loan signing agents or notary signing agents, you went through this website anyway, so you already have access to it. Just be sure that you start to use it if you have any questions or concerns that maybe you don't want to post on the Facebook or ask questions in those different groups that are available. Let me stop right there for just a second because I want to get into some specifics, but I want to get into any specifics that you guys may have as far as questions about me as a notary signing agent before we switch gears and go into a little bit of the general notary work that I do. Okay, no questions. All right. So before we get into general notary work, I'm going to tell you a few things that are very unique about my business that I feel like that I'm doing that maybe others may not be doing as well. So this may be an advantage. This may be something you already know, but if not, hopefully these will be some of the takeaways that you can utilize and use for yourself. So I'm going to kind of let you see behind the curtain what I'm doing behind the scenes. So first and foremost, if you do not have a website, you need to get one. If you really want to be in this business long term and you really want to make a decent living at it, you need to have a website. Now, these are basic things. I'm not going to go through and try to tell you how to build a business, but if you don't have these things, such as a website, business cards, um, that's just the basic things that you just need to have. A professional business line, if you can afford it. If it fits in your budget, have a separate line for your notary business. I do. There's several services out there that you can use. Some of these services include Sideline, very inexpensive. I think it's like $9 a month. You've got Grasshopper. I use a service called Ring Central. I got grandfathered in because I've always had a business line for years for the insurance business. So I pay a lot less than the average person coming in new. So you might not want to look at them, But if it fits in the budget, I love Ring Central. That's what I use. I can text from it. I can receive phone calls, voicemails. You know, it has hold music. So all of those good things that will make your business look like it's bigger than just you, right? A lot of people that call me, they're thinking that I'm some big, you know, huge company when it's really just me behind the scenes and a few notary partners of mine here in the Houston area. And that's another thing. Network with other notaries. Find other notaries in your area. I think a lot of times we are under the impression that working with other notaries, you're stepping on each other's toes, and it's actually the quite opposite. I do a lot of general notary work, and there are certain documents, literally, such as like wills. Give you an example, where customers need you to come out, notarize a will, and they need witnesses. A lot of wills need two witnesses in the state of Texas. And guess what? A lot of times I have gone into households where they do not want any of their family members knowing what they're doing. And they'll ask me, Paul, can you provide witnesses? And typically, what I end up doing is just calling on a couple of notary friends of mine, and they go out with me. They'll charge a small fee just to travel out there and be with me, and we all get paid, right? So it's a good thing to partner with other notaries because you can actually give them some business. You can scratch their back, they'll scratch your back. It's a win-win for everybody, and you satisfy a need because there will be times where people will need witnesses and they don't want to use anybody that they know. It's sad, but it's the truth. A lot of people are private, so just know that. Um, I know I went off on a tangent, but one of the other things outside of just networking with other notaries that's a little bit unique about me is I am fully mobile. And when I say fully mobile, I mean fully mobile. I do not have to come home to do anything. I have a full office set up in my truck. So I have a dual tray laser printer, copier, scanner, all in the truck. My laptop, Wi-Fi, you name it. I can go to a person's house. If they need copies, I can make copies on the spot. Anything that they could possibly think of or even need, even if it needs to download a document online, I can download those documents and print them right on the spot. So that helps in the process when you're doing general notary work because a lot of that, I'm telling you, you're going to see things that you've never seen before. People are going to ask you for things that you can't even answer because they're trying to get you to give them legal advice, which you can't. But being able to be resourceful. I'm not giving any advice, but I can still point them in a direction that will help them find the answers that they're looking for. And that just comes with time. So I can't teach you how to do those things. But what I can teach you is as you progress in your careers, that was something that I learned in one of the courses that I took was having a full office setup. Even for my loan signing business, what makes it easier for me to take on a lot of signings and to make the kind of money that I'm making is because I don't have to come home to print out new docs. I can be on the road, driving down the highway, pull out my laptop, press print, and keep driving. And when I get to the location, the documents are ready for me. I just take them out the bag, go in and sign, come back out, drop them off at FedEx or UPS, and I'm on to the next appointment. That's how I operate. I try to operate at the highest level you can do this notary business at, and I still don't feel like I'm there yet because just like any other business, there's going to be some highs, some lows. Um, but that's one of the things that I think is really unique about me is my full mobile office setup. So I am cheating, if you want to call it cheating, but I don't have to go home for anything. Everything is mobile, right? Also, when it comes to loan signings, typically you're printing out two sets of documents. I wanted to find a way to be memorable. Some people, you know, maybe you're a good talker, maybe you have good jokes. I don't know what you do. But one of the things that I did is I found a way to keep people from throwing away my business cards, which is very unique. You probably won't ever hear anybody else talk about this. And if you do, they probably stole it from me. But I stole it from somebody else, so I can't take credit for it. So I'm going to show you something that you've probably never seen before. And if you have, you know, just act like you've never seen it before, right? Let me get out of screen sharing for just a second. There we go. Because everybody can see me now. And I hadn't even showed this to Arusha, so this would probably be a surprise to her. Now, before I show you this, understand I'm kind of a tech geek at heart. My degree is computer science. I went to Stephen F. Austin. That's what I did, but I never got into the technical field because I ended up in sales, believe it or not. So I never got into the technical field, but I wish I had of. But doing what I'm doing now, I'm okay. So this is my business card, and hopefully you guys can kind of see it. Let's see if I can get the glare out of there. What's unique about my business card is it's also a USB. This is my moneymaker right here. This is what drives people to call me back because they've never seen it before. And I've never shared this with anybody outside of this group. The only people that know about this is my family members. So I'm only sharing this because I want to give you guys, something to make yourselves a little bit different from everybody else that's a notary. Why do I use this? I get these things for $1.65. They come from China, so they're cheap. It's like 128 megabytes. Not gonna be able to put a lot on there. But where does it help me? In my costs. For me to print out a loan document, for the most part, it runs anywhere from $4 to $5 is what my cost is. This costs me $1.68 when I buy them in bulk, because I buy them in bulks of 100 to 150. So what do I do with this? A lot of my loan signing clients, I put all their loan documents on this, and they are just amazed when I pull it out because they've been used to every other notary handing them this thick stack of 150 plus pages and saying this is your copy, right? But I'm keeping the originals and I got to put it at FedEx. I give them this. This is why they call me back. This is why my general notary business, I probably generate anywhere from about $500 to $750 a month on the side just doing general notary work. And a lot of that, believe it or not, I give it away to other notaries. I do, because of this. Also, having a Google My Business page set up. Is anybody on here not familiar with Google My Business?
I'm not. This is Deborah because I'm just really getting into the notary.
Okay. So let me show you what it is. So Google My Business is the free service, by the way, free, and um, it allows small business owners to market locally, and they actually put you on the first page. So let me go back to screen sharing so I can show you what I'm talking about, because this is extremely important and this is free. And this is how I get a lot of general notary business too. So for those of you that may want to do more RONs, this is how you get them. If you want to just do more general notary work where you're traveling out to somebody's house and notarizing for them, this is how you do it. I mean, this is all I did for months and it worked like a charm. So let me share this screen here. Let's go to Google. All right. So anytime you type in any key, oh, you can't see it, share. There we go. Now you guys should be able to see it, right? All right. So anytime somebody needs a notary, and if you can't see my screen, raise your hand, throw up some white smoke, whatever, that way I'll know. But I'm gonna keep moving as if you guys can see it. But most people, when they're looking for a notary, they're gonna try to find a notary near them. So I live in Katy, Texas. I'm just type in notary Katy, Texas. And what Google My Business does is that anybody that creates a free Google My Business account and you list your business, they will list you right here at the top of the page. Okay. And here's what's nice about it. This is me, page number 1, right at the top. And I pay absolutely nothing to get this free business that they send me. And I would tell you, outside of the referrals that I get, outside of just attorneys sending me business, outside of loan signing customers calling me back for other services where they need a notary, Google My Business probably accounts for at least 60% of my general notary work. This free account is generating that much business for me, and it's free. I can't say that enough. And all you need to have is just a name, a business name, a telephone number, and create a profile. It's no different than creating your Facebook page, right? There's more details that you want to put in here. But this is how easy it is just to generate more business to your particular companies, right? Now, there's one thing that I will share with you about what I've done, And then this is on Bing, by the way. So this isn't on Google. So we're on Microsoft Bing. Let me switch gears so I can show you what it looks like on Google. There we go. Now, Notary, Katie, Texas. So now I'm using Google. So now I'm definitely in Google, not in Bing, because those are two different platforms, two different engines. But with that said, so now when you type in notaries, you know, you've got the postal experts, you've got mobile notaries, Katie. So you have all these different companies, and then most people, they're going to look for somebody that's going to come to them. So they're looking for a mobile notary. And once again, I'm not the top one, but here's the first mobile notary that they're going to see. And this company right here, they have reviews. You'll find that most people, when they are looking for any type of service, right, first thing they're going to look at is how close are they to me and what kind of reviews do they have? What are people saying about them? And this company right here is probably the first mobile service that they can utilize. So Mobile Notary Katie, they've got about 11 5-star reviews. So these guys are doing a great job. They're doing it right. Now, I've only been doing this 2 years. I don't know how long they've been in business, but I've only been doing this just over 2 years. And in 2 years, I have 3 times the amount of reviews that they have with a 5-star review. So if you're a customer and you have the option to choose between this company with 11 reviews and this company with 32 reviews, and this company is open till 10 o'clock at night, this company is open 24 hours, you know, you're going to look at all of these different factors to determine which company you want to go move forward with. But I can tell you this, I get a lot of business just from this one page alone, just from Google. Okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on Google My Business, but if you have any questions on how to set up a Google My Business page, YouTube, everything. If you type in how to set up a Google My Business page, there will be tons and tons of content that will walk you through step by step how to set your business up on Google. And I can assure you, you will start to get business. Your phone will start to ring. And again, I encourage you, if you don't already have maybe a second phone line that you can use one of these services like a Sideline or a Ring Central or Grasshopper. They're apps that you download to your phone, and that way you can determine, you know, what types of calls are business calls versus which calls are your friends and family. Because you don't want to answer the phone, hey, how you doing, right? Because these are people that's expecting to talk to a business when they call you. Um, and you won't know the difference unless you have a second line, or unless you have some magical way of determining who's a business call versus versus one of your friends and family. So to keep things simple, I encourage you, if you don't already have one, have a second line for your business, and that way you can be professional when you answer the calls. You know, thank you for calling First Class Notary. This is Paul. How may I help you? Whatever it is that you do, but you definitely want to be professional at it. So Google My Business is a big part of my general notary work and how I get it. So I want to stop right there because I just wanted to show you that. I know I'm giving you kind of a surface level of all this information, but I want to get you exposed to it because, like you said, some people on this call have never even heard of some of this stuff, and I want you to know that there are a lot of free tools that you can utilize that don't cost you any money that can get you business tomorrow. Okay. So let me stop right there. Any questions on just Google My Business?
Paul, this is Deborah. I don't have a question on that, but I do have a question on the getting information as to where the order the business card with the USB in it.
Right. So I get those from Alibaba. What I'll do, Arushi, I think you got everybody's information on your end. So I will provide that link to the company that I use. And anybody that's interested in getting some, you can go direct to them. So just transparency, they charge you based on a minimum of $100, a 100-piece order. So you have to buy at least a minimum of 100 of them to get them. And based on the volume that you buy or the amount that you buy will dictate your ultimate price. But typically you shouldn't be paying any more than about $1.65 to about $2 max. Okay. So full transparency on that. But I'll get you the links for that. No
Thank you.
question about it. You're welcome. Any other questions? How am I doing so far? Is this helpful? Is this not helpful? Is this stuff you already heard before? I mean, I want you guys to ask me the hard questions, because there may be some things that I'm doing that I haven't shared with you yet that you want to know. And trust me, I'm an open book. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Paul, are you looking at your chat? Because I sent you a couple questions.
Okay, let's see. Perfect. Okay, Paul, do you primarily work direct with lenders, title companies, signing service, or both? Okay, great question. So, I talked about at the beginning that I have, things that I'm doing that's working really, really well, but I also have challenges just like the next notary. And one of my challenges is I have not been able to break in to getting direct signing business directly from title companies. In the course that I took, one of the things that they mentioned is going direct, because the faster you get direct signings from different title companies, obviously the more money you make. Because the difference between a direct signing versus a signing that you get from a signing service is the signing service acts as the middleman, and as a middleman, they expect to get paid too, right? So, give you a quick example: $150 loan signing direct, you get $150. But if that's coming from a signing service, typically they may give you $100 and they keep 50, or they may give you 85 and keep 75, or whatever the number that be 65. I'm sorry. So that's the difference, and that has been one of my challenges, is breaking down that barrier of getting some direct signings from a lot of the title companies here in the Houston area. I get a lot of people that are like, yeah, we'll keep your business card, but I have not successfully been able to break into that market yet. That is a market that I am consistently working, but I can't say that I've had any real success doing that. But again, I don't just get discouraged about that, because with all of the signing services that are out there, I'll just keep plugging the path that I'm on, and I'll keep, going after some direct business. And when it becomes available, I'll attack, and I'll get some new business that way. But until then, that has been one of my biggest challenges. Okay, so I have challenges just like the next person, but hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, where do you get those business? Yeah, so I just answered that one. So yes, I'll provide you guys with the link on where to get those, and it's on Alibaba. There are companies here in the U.S. that you can get them from too, but I think the cost is like dramatically higher. You get up into the $5 and $6 per card, and there's no way I'm paying that. I'd rather just go ahead and print a second copy for the clients, because it's just not, it's cost prohibitive at that point. It costs me too much. But at $1.65 and the marketing dollars that I get out of it, it's a no-brainer. But I'll make sure everybody gets a link to that. Okay. Any other questions?
To get to that $8,000 mark, about how many signings would you say you're doing per week? Because you're full-time, correct?
I'm full-time. So great question. So on a typical week for Paul Todd, I will do no less than 3 to 5 signings a day. Okay. Some days I'll do 9, and that's just how I roll. So let me show you how I'm able to do that. You can't do 6 and 7 signings in one day and not be organized, right? So I'm going to show you how I'm organized. Everything that I do, I use my Google Calendar. Everything. I'll even show you my website. Just to kind of give you an idea. I won't even take an appointment unless somebody goes on my website, clicks on schedule an appointment, and books it this way. They pay me online. I'm paid before I get there. It automatically puts it on the calendar. But also, when they click on this, it already has my calendar synced up with all of my signings that I have scheduled for the week as well. So wherever I have a signing, it will not allow them to book an appointment. You have to be extremely organized as a notary to do that type of volume. And I feel like I'm still not scratching the surface, because I still have more hours in the day that I'm not burning yet. So yeah, $8,000 is, to me, I'm not even doing enough yet. I should be $10,000 to $11,000 a month. Okay, because I still have time in my day to get it done. consistently, my goal is to do 6 a day. That's where I would like to be. But consistently right now, I'm falling between 3 and 5. Some days I may do 2. Believe it or not, I'll have some slow days, but then I'll have some fast days where I may do 9 signings. And out of those 9 signings, I'm sure, like most of you, you'll run into situations where a closing to get canceled, a closing to get rescheduled. That happens to me as well. Um, there's some things that I do with the customer when I'm setting appointments with them that help me to minimize those cancellations and those reschedules. One of the things that happens is signing services are working with the lender. So I'm just kind of giving you some behind the scenes notes. You can use this in your own practices if you guys are doing this. The lender is the one that pretty much controls all the paperwork for the most part. They have their lender docs that have to be generated because they're the ones that's going to be funding this loan, right? But then it eventually has to get to the title company, and the title company adds their additional docs to the package. And then it's essentially sent to the notary prints it out, goes out and do the signing. Well, what happens a lot of times is the lender hadn't gotten the documents ready yet. And what's crazy to me, and I never knew this until I got into the business, is they literally will schedule a loan signing and they don't even have documents ready yet. And I'm like, why are they scheduling this if they don't even have the documents ready? But they're anticipating that they should have the documents in a timely fashion. But because of all the refinances and things like that, a lot of lenders are really just behind. So what I have found and what has been working for me, so this hopefully will be a good plug that you guys can use for anybody on the call that's a loan signing agent, is when I initially call, because when you get that signing, you get the confirmation, you get the client's telephone number, so you can call them, confirm the appointment, all that good stuff, right? So here it is. Today is Thursday. I may have a signing for Monday. What I will tell every customer that I talk to, after I've confirmed the date and time of that appointment and the address, the first thing I'm gonna tell them is, look, I've been doing this for a while, and what I have found is that the lenders are getting a little bit behind in closings. So whoever your loan processor is that you're working with, be sure your closing is with me is on Monday. Be sure by noon on Friday, be sure you're on the phone following up with them to make sure your loan documents are ready. Because what will happen is Monday will roll around and you'll be getting a phone call from me saying, hey, by the way, I wish I could come out, but your loan documents are going to be delayed, so we're going to reschedule. You don't want to have that conversation. And by telling the customer that, what it ends up doing is it forces them to make a decision. Do I want to make sure I close on time? And most of them do. And what they will do is they will get on that phone and they will hound their loan processor, who will in turn hound the lender and make sure those documents are ready. And what I have found, it's not 100%, but my cancellations and my reschedules have gone down dramatically for just doing that one thing. And I'm sure some title companies probably do not agree with me and they don't want me doing that. But what they don't understand is, and I'm sure most of you on this call understands, if I have an 11 o'clock scheduling on Monday and I've got all these signings that are coming in that I could have took, but then 11 o'clock rolls around and you tell me that the loan documents aren't ready and they reschedule, well, guess what? I can't reschedule anything for that 11 o'clock. I just lost money. That's the way I look at it. My job is to minimize losing money, right? So hopefully you guys on this call can appreciate that. And by doing some of the things that I do outside of just trying to be the best notary I can be, there's some things that you can do with that customer to help you make sure closings take place on the times and dates that they're supposed to take place. And that is, make sure the client holds the lender and their closing agent accountable in making sure they get their documents on time. Because a lot of times all it takes is just one phone call to get their loan documents from the bottom of the stack to the top. And now you don't have any issues. And you end up getting the documents maybe that Friday afternoon is what ends up happening for me. So now I've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to prep the documents, have everything ready to go. So on Monday, I just sit back and watch them sign their lives away because I've already done so. So hopefully that little plug, I don't know if for those of you that can use it, use it. For those of you that can't, I understand that too. But I'm just trying to share with you some of the things that I'm doing that's helping me to do the type of volume that I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Thank you. That is very, very, very highly helpful, because it's very frustrating when you get to that point and you're sitting at, I know I don't know any NSAs that's sitting at home waiting for docs, but sometimes when you are in that position, it's very frustrating to have that time carved out for that particular signing, and then sometimes you don't even get that call saying that the closing is rescheduled. You don't hear anything from the signing service, and that's happened to me before, where nobody calls to let you know what's going on. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say one other thing. I won't harp on it, but this is the other thing that this helps me with too. By also doing that, you stay engaged with the customer. The customer will naturally call you back. I can't tell you how many times I've had a closing that got canceled. The customer knew, the lender knew, the processor knew, and the only person that didn't know was Paul Todd. And that's because the signing service never updated their system to let me know that closing that got canceled. And that's frustrating. Even worse when everybody else knows except for you, and you're the one that's going to be doing the closing, and you're the only one that doesn't know what's going on. So again, just little simple things like that keep you in the loop, number one. And so there's no surprises. And if you know it's coming, now I can go ahead and schedule something else for that 11 o'clock hour, because I got all day Friday to accept signings, and I can plug something else in for that 11 o'clock. Because with all the signing service that I'm signed up with, I could fill up my calendar in about 2 days for the entire week. That's how many opportunities I get. So I don't have any issues with getting business. The challenges that I have is, a lot of the business I'm doing, they may be 85, 95, 110, but they're not the full $150 that I could be getting if I was going direct. And I'm not complaining by no means. I don't want anybody on this call to think I'm complaining, but I'm just sharing with you because you asked the question about direct. I know with direct, I could do the same amount of volume, make more money, and probably work less time, right? And that's what I'm trying to get to. So that's my goal. I need to make more money in less time. But until I can get there, for anybody on this call, you just sign up with as many signing services as you possibly can. So that's part of my daily routine. And this may seem small, but literally every week, my goal is to sign up with 5 new signing services every week. I've got a list of about 300 or so signing services, and I'm just pounding that list. And it's not realistic to try to sit there and go through 300 signing services in one day. You're not going to do it. You're just going to wear yourself out, and then you're going to quit. But that's my little goal. That's something that I do each week. It's just one a day, technically. But I end up doing it in one day. And that's how I continuously get more signing companies to give me more business. And ultimately, if you just do a good job, a lot of these signing services, the ones that I'm working with, they will pick up the phone and call me. Like I may say I'm not available, and they will pick up the phone and almost beg me to take a signing because they want me to do it. And I think once you build that type of rapport, it makes you a little bit unique in the sense that you're not going to have to worry about making money anymore. It becomes, how can I make more in less time? That's what I struggle with now. So hopefully I didn't go off on too much of a tangent. I just wanted to share that though.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Okay, I am a loan signing agent also. I went through the LLS system also,
Mm-hmm.
but I get offers, and when I say yes, I'm available, I may or may not get it, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll still keep handing that signing out there. But it's like now they're getting where the point they're taking their phone number down, so you can't call them and say, hey, you put up a signing saying, are you available? Can you take it? And how do you get past that?
Great question. I'm gonna teach you a couple of hacks. Hopefully I'm not telling you something you didn't know, but if I am, I'll make a winner out of you in no time. So there's several signing services out there that they operate where they send out a signing to everybody. You can say I'm available, and then there's this wait and see, right? They don't immediately pick you. They pick whoever they want based on who all said yes. So behind the scenes, a lot of these signing services may have a couple of what they call preferred notaries. And if one of their preferred notaries is available, and maybe you're not one of their preferred notaries, your chances of getting that signing a lot of times dwindles because they'll want to use somebody that they're familiar with. So, but there are several companies out there. I'll give you a name of a few. signature closers, Amrock, Solidify, just to name a few. I mean, the list goes on, but I'm just naming a couple. These signing services, when you sign up with them, when they send you assignments, if it's available when you click on it, it's yours. Which is the reason why when I got into the business, everybody was talking about SnapDocs this, SnapDocs that. I wasn't getting anything from SnapDocs. I was like, what am I doing wrong? But all of these other signing services would give me deals. They fell in love with me, and I started getting a bunch of them. I got to the point where for every one deal I would get off of SnapDocs, I'd probably get almost 15 in one day from signature closers, right? Just give you an example. So how do you combat that? I learned a trick from another notary with SnapDocs, and I'm assuming this may be one of the companies you may be referring to, even though you didn't say a company, but I know they're one of the notorious ones that
It is.
I've been doing this long enough, so I got you. One of the things you can do with SnapDocs is SnapDocs does allow you to input any signings that you've done for other companies. Their sweet spot seems to be around 25 to 30. So if you're doing signings with other companies, it's a good idea to go into your SnapDocs system and log them, because what happens is SnapDocs algorithm, because they got this algorithm that's real cool and it works, it'll see that even though they're not giving you any signings, you're doing signings. So they will give you credit for the fact that you're doing signings with other companies. And once you get over 25 to 30 in their system, you will see a huge change in how many signings you're getting versus how many you're getting now. That seems to be the sweet spot. So if you haven't been doing that, that's kind of one of the SnapDoc hacks, is going to their system. Let's see if I can show it to you real quick. I know I'm telling you, I'm gonna see if I can show it to you. Because this just started working for me here recently. So I went from probably less than 2 signings with SnapDocs to I'm up to about 60 now, I want to say. And I'm gonna just show you exactly where it is. If I get lucky, they won't make me put in a passcode. All right, so see my profile, companies, here it is, companies. So when you get on companies, so this is another thing. These are all the signing companies that are giving me business from SnapDocs right now. It kind of shows you the average fees that I make, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'm not gonna get into all that. What I am gonna get into is adding a signing right here. So this is where you can put signings that you've done for other companies just by adding them right here. You have to put in some basic pieces of information like the signer's last name, things like that. But when you do that, SnapDocs will see it as you're actually still doing signings, even though you're not doing it with them. And once you get over 30, hopefully you've done, close to 30, 40 that you can put in here. And I can guarantee you within a week, you'll see a big change in how many signings you're getting. It'll change almost instantly. The other thing to make sure you're doing with
general notary in there too, can't you?
Yeah, you can put those in there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a SnapDocs hack. So hopefully I shared something with you that you can use today. And if you hadn't did everything else, just make sure
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. How do I get out of this? Let's go back.
Awesome. Just a quick time check. We have about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So
Interesting, and I don't know about everybody else, but it's been fascinating, and I think you've given a lot of hacks. So if you've got anything special you want to share in the next 5 minutes, I just want to give you a little warning.
All right, cool. Thank you. So so let me tell you where I'm trying to take my business now. So I've already shared with everybody that I want to get more direct signings from the lenders. The other area I want to start tackling a little bit more, because I've been successful at this, is working with real estate investors, for one, and then also estate planning attorneys. Also, more real estate agents. And the reason for that is this. The more and more signings I'm doing, the more and more I get, when are they going to put all this stuff online? Why are we still doing paper? I hear that if I do 10 signings, I guarantee I've heard it in 3 to 4 of them, minimum. So what am I saying? The people are asking for online digital notarization. That's what they want. They're asking for it. And one of the things that I liked about Arushi and her team is that when I first started uh, in the business, one of the first things that came about was this Ron, because it just came out of nowhere. And I just started being a regular notary. It's like, okay, now I'm a notary. Now they're talking about this Ron stuff. And even some of the courses I took, they're like, oh, that's just a fad. It's going to go away. No, it's not. That is here to stay. And I literally went through several different companies. I won't even name them on here to try to find a good Ron company to use. And everything that I kept coming across, it felt like I was spending more money before I would even make a dime. It was like I had to do almost 15, 17 signings online just to break even, because in Texas you can't make any more than $25 plus $6 for the first stamp, right? So 31 bucks, but a lot of these platforms you're paying an arm and a leg just to be an agent with them. And I'm sure some of you have run across the exact same thing. And I had got to the point where I was literally looking to team up with people to try to build my own. That's where I was. And as luck would have it, I ran across AtNotarize. And hands down, this system, and again, I'm not getting paid anything to tell you this because you guys probably already know this. I'm just sharing with you what you already know. Their system is probably the most agent-friendly, notary agent-friendly platform I've ever seen from a cost standpoint, number one, but then also from a flexibility standpoint. A lot of these companies want you to be a captive, basically only work for them, sit in front of a desk and only take their signings all day. And the way my business is built, my business isn't built to sit in front of a desk all day. My business is built to be in front of the customers, but then also incorporate some of this general notary stuff to keep filling in my schedules whenever there's gaps. So the AtNotarize platform was a godsend for me because now I can do online notarizations to fill in those gaps, and it serves a purpose, because that is another selling point that customers want. They do want a lot of this stuff to be done online. They don't want paper. But there's not a lot of platforms out there that are, in my opinion, set up for the independent notary. They're really set up for notaries that will work for them. So that's where I'm trying to take my business now, is to do more online notarizations for my general notary work. So I'm not burning any more gas for, those little smaller signings where it's just one pages. Um, I want to be able to do that from the comfort of my own home. Or, if I'm in between appointments and I'm on the road, just be able to pull out my laptop and do exactly what I'm doing from home. I can do it from my truck. There's no need for me to come home for anything. Um, so for those of you on the call, I hope you see the value, just like I do, of AtNotarize and what they bring to the table. I know they're working on a lot of things in regards to providing you with clients, because most of us on the call, that's probably your biggest challenge, is getting in front of enough people for it to make sense for any notarization whatsoever, whether it's loan signings, whatever. But I implore you, some of the things I've shared today, hopefully you will incorporate tomorrow, utilize it. If you have any questions, I answer my phone all the time. And if I don't answer, I'll return a call within minutes. So unless I'm in a signing, then it may take about 45 minutes for you to get a call back. But you guys have full access to me if you have any questions after this meeting. Um, I may be asking for trouble when I say that, but you guys know who I am. You see my website, so it shouldn't be hard to find. But anything that I can do to help you in that retrospect, even if it's just nothing but, hey, Paul, can you walk me through or get me to the point where I can get this Google My Business or get more signing services under my belt? Or do you have a list? I have lists of all the signing services, whatever you need. I want to help you guys get to the next level, whatever that means for you, because everybody's next level is different. But hopefully between AtNotarize, myself, we can help to push you to where it is that you're trying to get to. And I think we are over time, but I'll stop right there.
Paul, that was really awesome and honest and authentic. And, I know before we started this, we said this is not supposed to be a plug for AtNotarize. And so I appreciate all the kind things you've said. We at AtNotarize are trying to create a community, right? We're trying to create a community of notaries. And I was really touched by your sharing all of this, Paul, because I know this is what distinguishes you, and now you're sharing your secrets, not just on this call, but presumably online, right? But I know
Right. Can't take it back now.
yeah, you can take it back, but I know it's coming from a really good place of you
Yeah.
wanting to help people. So I think it's so great that you've been this authentic. One of the things I'll ask you to do for AtNotarize is take a picture of your mobile truck. And maybe you can post it on social media. Let's see how you feel about that. But
Oh
everybody, we'll have a follow-up email. We'll see if we send a link to this recording, depending on how Paul feels after he sleeps on it. Over the world. But you guys heard it, verbatim without any edits. So thanks a lot. And we're all accessible to you. We want you to be successful, and we can be successful if you're successful. And if you've got any ideas on what more you want to hear from Paul or anybody else, what topics, we're thinking of doing the next one on social media marketing. I was thinking of getting our social media guys here who manage our social media campaigns. They're an overseas team, and I thought it'd be cool to just have them talk about how they do it. So,
yeah. Right.
any ideas you guys have, tell us. Even if there are 2 people on the call, we'll still have these calls. Hopefully, a lot of people will join because it's all about the value that we're providing you. And as Paul said, free, free, free. Uh, so definitely take us up on it. And thank you so much for your time. You guys
Thank
take
you guys.
Mhm.